Microsoft and Alphabet both beat on earnings, but I think timing earnings, right, is as important as the earnings themselves, right, and what the market sentiment is. And I think that everybody is obviously a little bit more cautious coming into the news conference. We already know what the rate is going to be, right? We're going to stay flat, so no big surprise there. But what we are looking at is, are we starting to get warnings on tech, right? And are we starting to see like, okay, I think we're a little bit overextended, and are we due for a little bit of a pullback? Again, Microsoft beat, Alphabet beat, but what the investors are looking at is increased capital expenditure on AI ventures. And both of them basically kind of said the same thing. They are forecasting higher expenditures in 2024. AMD, a little bit different story, right? So AMD's the expectations placed on them was an exponential increase in AI revenue with their MI300 chip. They failed to meet those expectations in their forecast. They had a slight miss on earnings per share, and they beat on revenue over the last quarter. But I think people are a little bit nervous on AMD, and um, if if you look at AMD in particular, AMD has different segments of their market, right? So they provide a lot of the chips for like the Microsoft, the Xbox, the PlayStation, and those gaming consoles have kind of reached the end of their life cycle. So there's not much more juice to squeeze out of that. The PC sector for AMD is a little bit softer than it has been, and so really the biggest growth sector, the biggest growth potential for AMD is getting into the AI space and being NVIDIA's main competitor in the market when it comes to this AI specific hardware that they are looking to produce and bring to market. So a little bit of a divergence in the story, right? I still have faith that AMD is the most viable competitor. And I think that the market does as well. If you look at the overnight price action and the earnings reaction from AMD in particular, I'll go ahead and pull up my intraday levels and make sure that I bring these up here. And honestly, I marked these levels up a long time ago. Like these levels have been here for quite some time, even beyond this 5-day chart. But I really wanted to focus over the last week and the earnings reaction. We basically, and it was really funny looking at this. And this is on a 3-minute chart. The 1-minute chart looks even more hilarious because it almost, but like really a dip down, and then look at this move, right? Whip down the 160 all the way up to basically 174. And then we open up again, push up to 176 basically, and then slam all the way back down to that 161 level. And then we kind of hovered around there. But the buy the dippers were kind of in there early this morning, buying this dip. I don't think there's anything to do in terms of a day trade on this stock at these levels. I think that the price point would be like yesterday's close, in and around that level, to see if you could fade that move back down again. But this is all going to be related to timing because, again, if we're getting into this afternoon and we're getting into, the rate decision and, the news conference thereafter, then this is going to move very aggressively because of the interest that it has. What I'm actually favoring, and it might be more of an afternoon trade, is a trade on Microsoft if the market likes what they hear, right? Again, Microsoft is basically going to open flat. We had a lot of volatility post market, but we've basically kind of held yesterday's close. We're slightly below that. But I think if today ends up being an up day in the market, then Microsoft has the best potential because it held up the best. I'll show you guys again the Google chart. If you look at it, straight sell off, holding at the lows. I don't know this. I don't know that this has the strength to recover all the way back up to yesterday's close price, but the move was pretty. This is like the cleanest and most defined move that
That's a pretty big sell-off, right, from a percentage point. What's
Yeah,
that,
so
6
if
you
you
said?
look at what the percentage move on earnings, right? And so I typically use Market Chameleon to kind of just kind of give me the synopsis on it. We had a 5.7% move.
Mm,
When you look at the expected move on the stock, though, it's still below what the expected move was, right? They were looking for a 6% move or about half a percentage point off. You get like these huge moves on earnings, which is why, number one, I'm not going to trade the earnings reaction because it's really hard to gauge your risk off of it. But what I do look at, and it's just more of a long-term view, is okay, where could we expect to go from here? I really was looking for a cool off in all of these stocks, honestly, because I want the opportunity to buy some of these, but I don't want to buy them at these prices.